Isabel Oakeshott, Talk's International Editor. Isabel, earlier in the show, I discussed with Stephen Barrett, the barrister, who was our guest for the first hour, this shocking story of the Egyptian migrant who came here in April 2023, was, of course, being put up at our expense at the Hilton Hotel in Ealing in West London. He's an asylum seeker here on the basis that if we returned him to Egypt, he said he would be persecuted, politically persecuted. He went up to London, went to Hyde Park, and one Saturday night, poor girl, lady, walking back after a night out, it was only 9 p.m, he sort of pushed her into the bushes and viciously raped her. He's just got 8.5 years. Which is nowhere near enough, by the way.
No.
Now, that plays into what our big fears are about the migrant crisis. We keep letting in thousands and thousands of young men of sexually active age who mostly hail from cultures that are very different to ours. They have very different attitudes to women. This Egyptian guy, the judge said to him that he felt... The judge said he felt that this guy had no concept, no idea that he'd done anything wrong. Now, so I'm just sort of putting that as the backdrop. We know that we've had other migrants who have been arrested for rape or charged and found guilty of rape. One Afghani migrant, an asylum seeker, his defence was, nobody told me that you had a different attitude to women here, a different culture and a different attitude to women here in Britain than we do in Afghanistan. That was his defence. So basically, he's basically saying, well, you know, we're pretty relaxed about rape where I come from. Nobody told me you take it that seriously. He got 12.5 years. This guy's got 8.5 years, and I only mention all that as a backdrop to this extremely worrying story. Now, Epping, as you know, has been on the front line of the migrant crisis with these passionate demonstrations and protests about the Bell Hotel, in which something like 110, 120, basically young men, all young men, have been billeted there, asylum seekers, as it were. And the people of Epping don't want them there. You can't blame them, really. One of these asylum seekers at the Bell Hotel has already been convicted of sexually assaulting, I think it was a 14-year-old girl. Another one is awaiting trial on charges of sexual assault. And guess what happened today? A man was arrested on the grounds of a local school near Epping. This is the Davenant School. They found a man acting in an unusual way near the school and then entering the school grounds. He was arrested by Essex Police, and you can imagine that once again feelings are running very high in that area. Now, we don't actually know that this guy was staying at the Bell Hotel. Seems pretty likely, but we don't know for sure. But we do know he was an asylum seeker stroke migrant. I mean, this is just getting to the point where it just feels like it's out of control, doesn't it?
It is out of control. It doesn't just feel like it's out of control. It is out of control. And what this does is once again reinforces that the people who turn out and march and peacefully protest against what is being done to us and our country are not far-right nutters. They're not racists. They are people with very rational, evidence-based concerns about the impact of importing a load of people who are not at all familiar with the way we live and our values, and the impact that has on communities, and in particular on the safety of women, girls and children. This is very rational. This is not people being just objecting on the basis of the colour of someone's skin. It is based on the kinds of behaviours that we are seeing. And I'm very glad that in this case, the police evidently acted really quickly, but I'm sorry to say that this is far from the first report of this kind that I've heard. I've heard multiple similar reports from other parts of the country. All too often, it's very, very difficult as a reporter to actually stand up these stories. You know, you get tip-offs from people. My instinct is usually that they're credible. Of course, sometimes they won't be, but the police do not exactly go out of their way to help reporters stand up these stories. So I think there's an awful lot of this going on that we're not hearing about. And once again, that makes it entirely reasonable and rational for people to take to the streets and say, you know what, we've absolutely had enough of this. And I'm sure you talked about it before this evening, and you will doubtless return to it, the utter insult to the British people of the Prime Minister's absurd one-in, one-out scheme, which at present sounds as if we're going to be accepting a whole load more migrants at the weekend from France that have already been given the right to stay in the UK in return for nothing. We're just taking them. This is a bit like a kind of mini version of the Chagos deal, you know,
Yeah.
Get shafted, basically. What Starmer has basically done is created a new legal route for migrants without stopping the illegal one. So we've now got extra legal routes.
I'm laughing. If I didn't laugh, I'd cry. But yeah, what this is going to add up to, as you quite rightly say, Isabel, we're hearing that while we fail on a serial basis to get a single migrant out of Britain and over to France on the so-called one-in, one-out scheme, the hilariously misnamed one-in, one-out scheme, they are still going to uphold their side of the bargain. And we're hearing that a plane load of French migrants, or French reject migrants, will be flown to Britain on Saturday.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, us having got no migrants over to France, because as I think I said to you, I said to anybody who wanted to listen when this scheme was first launched, I said they'll never get a single migrant back to France under this one-in, one-out scheme. I just had the excellent barrister Stephen Barrett on, and I said to him, am I right that any lawyer worth his salt could just go to a judge and say, hang on a second, this system is, they're just taking 17 migrants and picking one randomly and saying, you're the unlucky one, you're going back. I said, am I right that any lawyer can get that kicked straight out of court? He said, oh yeah, it's ridiculous. You know, justice is about fairness. That's not fair. And of course, even if that defence or that challenge failed, obviously in then comes human rights, ECHR, modern slavery, and that's why migrant after migrant after migrant is succeeding in blocking their deportation on the one-in, one-out scheme. So fairly soon it's going to be no British migrants out, loads of French migrants in. You couldn't make it up, could you?
I actually think I personally see this as a resignation issue for the Prime Minister, because he has done what he promised. He produced a year of migrants, and actually what he's doing is adding very deliberately. The scheme that he has set up has actually backfired spectacularly and is added to the cost to the taxpayer, both in the failure of the toing and froing, and now in a whole load of extra people who will have the right to bring dependents. I think that's a resignation issue on one of the most important, if not the single most important political matter of our times. He has not only broken his promise, he has actually made things very, very much worse. But you know what? We're not going to get rid of this Prime Minister. We have to leave it to his colleagues to do that.
What you meant to say there, I think, Isabel, if I could just correct you slightly, is this is today's Keir Starmer resignation issue. He has won every single day.
That's a good point. We'll have to have that as a feature. What's the resignation issue today?
Keir Starmer resignation issue of the day. But the Daily Mail put it brilliantly this morning. Human rights fanatic Starmer is sunk by human rights. I mean, he's not getting any migrants. But he is. He's not getting any migrants out because of his beloved human rights. It's ridiculous. You couldn't make this stuff up. Isabel, it's really good to talk to you again. Very important story, I think we did at 8 o'clock, and we will, of course, as it unfolds. The school saying they are investigating. They take our story very, very seriously. Isabel, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon. Isabel Oakeshott there, Talks International Editor. Right, I got the menu for the state banquet. I'll give it to you in just a minute. I'm trying to get the wine list as well. But I got the menu. I'll bring you that after the break, and then we're going to talk to a freelance journalist who has a chilling story, a sinister story to tell us about, well, proof, evidence that freedom of speech in this country is in deep trouble, thanks to the police who keep kind of arresting people and investigating people for tweets, for stuff they write on social media. They've got to stop this, but they can't seem to stop it. They love doing it.